Hello, good afternoon. Good
So,
afternoon to your audience.
Mr. Sari, what do you make about this directive from GES?
I think the directive is counter to the policy of government. It is actually a contradiction of government policy to decentralize education management. On one breath, education decentralization is a key pillar in the Ministry of Education's reform agenda, where you are seeking to shape decision-making responsibility and authority to the district as much as practicable. On another breath, ES Secretary is asking the District Education Directorates not to admit, anyone entry to the schools until they have an introductory letter from the GES Secretary, which is practically important because the GES Secretary cannot be issuing letters for over 40,000 schools. People want to enter 40,000 schools. It is not practically possible. And we are worried because it is being used as a conduit of, to deny some civil society organizations, and including some media houses, access to schools. Under the premise that you are likely to go and, share information which is unpalatable to the service. And that is the challenge we have because the directive will end up stifling or narrowing the civic space instead of expanding the frontiers of our civic space so that we cannot participate collectively in education policy implementation.
So definitely EDUWATCH is not for this directive. Maybe many CSOs are not for this directive. So then, if that is so, what do you suggest is the best steps GES should have taken?
Very important to regulate people who enter the school environment. It's always admitted. So, but what is the best way? The best way is how we have done that in the past 4 decades, where you go to the district education office, you write a letter to the district education director explaining that you want to go and do a research or you want to go and conduct an interview. So you seek permission from the district education director, who is the director managing an average of 100 schools. So that has been the norm. And there is no evidence that district education directors are unable to coordinate the entry of stakeholders. At the end of the day, they are the only body that knows the school better. The district education director knows the school better than the GES secretary sitting in Accra. So we are only asking that let's revert to the previous arrangement, because this arrangement is just meant to, as I said, to stifle access to information and deny certain CSOs, including EDUWATCH, access to schools. We wrote a letter to the GES asking for permission to conduct and study in Zanzibar and in Panta South. As far back as August last year, we are in January. We are yet to get a response. So how do you think it is practicable for such a directive to be implemented without letting it seem as if you are actually trying to use it to prevent other CSOs who may be critical of government from entering the schools? That's why we are saying that kindly revert to the existing order. If there are challenges with that, seek to strengthen it, but don't attempt to monopolize or gag information, gag opinions, restrict information from the school, because all stakeholders, including the media, CSOs, are interested in supporting government to implement the education agenda, and it shouldn't be seen as something that should be, prevented or constricted.
So how can this directive gag opinions from CSOs, and then how will this directive also affect the attempts of CSOs to help strengthen policies in the education sector?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying that this directive is actually meant to strengthen the coordination of the work of CSOs. CSOs are working with government collaboratively. We are building schools, we are supporting schools with service delivery, capacity building, and some of us are also demanding accountability and then conducting research and informing government of the success and then the challenges in its policy implementation. So we are supporting government. If we are not allowed to enter schools, how can we support government? So we are saying that it's important for the GES to coordinate the work of CSOs. That is very, very important. Because any other person can just walk into the school and do what they want to do, propagate bad messages, and then infiltrate the kids. So it's very important to regulate and determine who goes into the school environment. But in doing so, don't do it in a manner that seeks to punish certain organizations or certain people, because you cannot tell me that if I am an NGO and I'm based in Gamzugu, in the northern region, northeast, and I want to conduct a research in Gamzugu, I have to come to Greater Accra region, obtain a letter of introduction from the Director General, which letter will take about 4 months to obtain before going back to Gamzugu and undertake the research. Are we being practical? No. We are just trying to make the work difficult for NGOs, especially those who are interested in holding government accountable for policy implementation and holding the GES accountable to government policy. That's why we are saying that the GES should forget about this particular policy. It is not democratic. It is counter-democratic, and then it is actually the re-centralizing of a government policy that seeks to rather decentralize education management. So we actually wrote to the Ministry of Education to direct the GES that its actions must be consistent with the ministry's policy on decentralization and not re-centralize education management on very, very, very basic issues like school entry in districts. The GES should be left to focus on weightier issues than to be chasing people who want to enter schools. They should leave it to the District Education Directorate because they have the capacity to do so.
And what response did you get from the letter you wrote to the Education Ministry?
We are yet to, I'm actually initiating moves to meet with the Minister on this. To be honest with you, I don't think we should even be looking at such issues, because these are issues that take us back. There are so many issues in the sector to be discussed. These are drawback issues. But I have already indicated to the Minister that I'll be happy to meet him to have a discussion on not only this issue, but other issues that we raised in our area. I'm hopeful that what the Minister's attention has been drawn to this, he will instruct the GES to do the needful. So that we don't create the impression that the government is not interested in running an open government, rather an opaque government where critical organizations or information is being suppressed. It is not what government is to do, and the GES should not be minded to pursue that path.
Mr. Kofi Asari is the Executive Director of EDUWATCH. Thank you so much.